my comedy special tonight. So say a prayer, especially for my Catholic listener. You know, your prayers you guys are the big guns. But no, for my atheist listeners, send me thoughts. My Wiccan, my hippie listeners, get out all the crystals. Send me vibes. Look, we're going to make sure that all the bases are covered here. I'm filming my comedy special tonight. I'm very excited about it. Obviously, we're taping this a couple days beforehand. I'm not that much of a girl boss that I'm recording a podcast and then, I think I'll go on stage and do 2 shows for my comedy special. So I'm very excited about it. I will probably be all over Instagram stories with this stuff because instead of focusing on my set, I'll be messing around on Instagram as I am wont to do. All right, the topic of this podcast episode is the juggle. People talk about juggling work and family life. Someone the other day was talking about sacrificing your family for your work or sacrificing your work for your family. I don't believe in that paradigm. I don't believe that when you do something differently in your career for your family, that it is a quote unquote sacrifice. I think that's the result of our very individualistic culture that is completely disconnected from love and community. And that is what we will go into today in the intro topics. I'm also going to do my 5 quick takes again. I'll tell you a little bit more about filming the special. If I seem loopy at all, it is because I was up until 6 o'clock this morning.
Ouch.
Yes, I stayed up all night working on my set. What I was doing was, I have it memorized, I have it baked, but I wrote it out word for word because writing uses a different part of your brain than speaking does. And it helped me wrap my mind around the set in a different way. It actually gave me a couple of funny comments I could make because I just came up with different ideas, seeing the set written as opposed to verbally. No other comedians do this. It's just me with all of my spreadsheets and my nerdy analysis, but that is the way my brain works. And so anyway, if I seem loopy, I was up until 5:30. I finished working at 5:30, and then I went to sleep at like 6 a.m. So it's a little bit of a crazy day over here. But I just want to remind you again, tonight is the Houston show. There might end up being 2 or 3 tickets left for the late show. If you're in Houston and you are hearing this on the day it's released, come on down to the Riot in Montrose. But then also don't forget that my Austin Showcase show that I have so much fun with, it's a chance to definitely meet me in person, is in Austin at Cap City Comedy Club on the Feast of St. Nicholas. I can't say the date because I'll get it wrong, but I'll get the feast day right. It's on the Feast of St. Nicholas. So even if you're not Catholic, just Google it. That will tell you the date, and you can find that at jfcomedytour.com. And we're not playing the jingle that we have because my fall tour is over. We're already starting to think about the spring tour. So I will, we'll have to get a new jingle. We'll have to get new jingle for the spring. All right. Welcome to the Jen Fulwiler Show. We always get to the second, we always get to the main topic in the second half of the show. We are coming to you from Austin, Texas, and I am your host, Jen Fulwiler. I am a stand-up comic, best-selling author, and mom of 6. This is the podcast where you learn the art of the village hustle. That's being a hot girl boss, or hot boy boss for my male listeners. And they are out there. Who knows that love and family and community are the foundation of all true success. Caitlin White is our lovely producer, and we publish new episodes every Wednesday morning, even when I'm up till 6 a.m. working on my special. Even when I'm filming a special that I'm putting a lot of my personal money into and is very high risk, we still have new episodes for you on Wednesday morning. And don't forget that we have premium content on Patreon. We put a lot of effort into the Patreon. Caitlin and I love it. Caitlin's the community manager. Patreon.com/thisisjen. And all of the links for anything I just referenced is in the show notes. Before we get into 5 quick takes, I have to read one of my favorite recent Apple Podcast reviews, and I read each one personally, is from a 14-year-old girl. A lot of diversity in this podcast listenership. We have young men, We have 14-year-old girls. The 14-year-old girl demographic is growing. I will say, I'm hearing from more and more of them. So she says, first of all, the subject I love. She says, inspired by your shining star, soon to be trillionaire self. I like it. See, guys, my husband is calling me. And he knows that Caitlin, you have my husband's number. Could you text him and tell him that he knows what we're doing. So I think it's interesting. I think it's interesting that he would call. Like, you want to be like, Joe, what does a podcast recording mean to you? Maybe he has something to add. Maybe he wants to jump in. Like, I like that Apple Podcast review too.
He does have my kids, so I'm wondering if...
Then why didn't he call you?
Yeah, well...
Okay. Caitlin may need to step out. Don't worry, Caitlin. I don't have any sound effects that you need to hit or anything. So if you need to step out, that's what Village Hustle looks like. We're getting random calls. No, I put do not disturb on personal. That means my family can still contact me. Can't have that. All right. No, I put it on full do not disturb. Okay, from Telta 28, she's a 14-year-old girl. She says, inspired by your soon-to-be trillionaire self. I appreciate that. I talk about the comedy Millions, but she's one-upping it for me. She says, hello, Jen. I'm a 14-year-old girl. Yep, there goes Caitlin. This is our life. Okay, bye, Caitlin. We'll see you later. Yeah, we'll see you later. She says, hello, I'm a 14-year-old girl, but I feel like we have a deep spiritual connection. She said, me and my fam vibe with you greatly. And that's how you know she's a real 14-year-old girl. This isn't some weird 50-year-old man pretending to be a 14-year-old girl, because he wouldn't say vibe with you greatly. And she used the sparkly emojis. She says, I've developed a plan to start a dynasty and take over California thanks to you. I'm a fan of all plans that involve people like us taking over California. So she definitely had my attention. She says the plan. So we start with 5 kids and they each have 15, which equals 75 in the 3rd generation. By the way, I haven't checked her math. I'm just reading the Apple Podcast review. She says 375 in the 4th generation. If this generation had 5 children each, then 1875 in the 5th generation. And then this generation has 5 children. So 9,375 in the 6th generation. And she says this, of course, assumes that they all have 5 children. We'd have to change a few laws to make sure all of them keep their last name. She says, my family and I have been listening since day one, and we love your content. You should do a show here in Southern California. And then she ends with, we stan a girl boss gatekeep Sasquatch. That is an incredible way to end a podcast review. Caitlin's back. Caitlin, this 14-year-old girl ended her podcast review saying, we stan a girl boss gatekeep Sasquatch. You watch how fast I put that on a t-shirt. Also, do you know how proud I am that this podcast is getting 14-year-old girls to start thinking about demographic takeovers of states like California? This is incredible. Do you see what an influence I am on people? This is amazing. I mean, a lot of 14-year-old girls are not thinking that direction, but I like how she is realizing that populations grow geometrically and is just trying to figure out how the Fulwilers in her family can kind of get this together. I love it. I love being a bad influence on the kids. And all right, let's hit 5 quick takes. We have no intro music for this because I'm filming a special and I haven't had time to deal with it. And I don't have my 10 staff members. Let me tell you, when the Comedy Millions are here.
One for everything.
Well, yeah, and I'll have a guy singing like 5 quick takes. Tell you what, Caitlin, do a crazy voice and make some noise and say 5 quick takes. Like if we had, it's called imaging in radio. If we had imaging, okay, I'm just going to listen. Just make it your own, Caitlin. Say something crazy.
On spot.
She didn't know I was going to do it. She just walked back in from taking a call from my husband who's babysitting her kids while we record this. Go ahead, Caitlin.
This is Jen's quick 5 takes.
Yes! Perfection. You know what? We don't need the 10 staff members when we have this kind of ingenuity. Quick take number 1. Oh, I'm so happy to have my phone on Do Not Disturb. I'm just imagining my family trying to call me when they know that I'm recording the podcast. It's like the Great Wall of China, keeping the enemy invaders at bay. Okay. So, quick take number 1. I tried teen Uber the other day.
Ooh.
Yeah, it makes it sound like I got a ride with a teen. No. Did you guys know about this?
No.
That you can get rides for your teen kids on Uber now, and they can call the Uber themselves. Did you know this?
No, I had no idea.
I feel like this is a public service announcement. I need to tell you, for kids ages 13 and up, they can call their own Uber, and Uber sends only the highest rated drivers and the safest drivers. Uber does background checks yearly for their drivers. This sounds like an ad. It's not, because what do we do on this podcast? We leave money on the table. I probably could have gotten thousands of dollars for saying this, but I'm not. I'm just telling you. So the reason this is relevant to this podcast is when you live without a village, it is very difficult to have your kids in all these different places, and you don't have help getting them there. So my teenage daughter, who is 16, downloaded the app. She called the Uber. I got an alert that she'd called the Uber, and I had the little map of where the Uber is. It sends you automatic alerts if there's any unexpected activity. Like if the car suddenly pulled over, I would get an alert and be told where the location is and all that. And she loved it. It was a nice lady, picked her up and took her home. And I feel like my days of giving kids rides are over.
Oh, yeah.
Now that I have discovered teen Uber, the sun has set on me being the family chauffeur. This is incredible. Ages 13 and up. I mean, that's pretty young that you can get a ride. And then the other thing is, if your kid is ever out with a teen driver or with someone that they're like, this person cannot drive. Like this person is not safe. Or even like one of their friends' parents is, they've been doing shots at Chuck E. Cheese. And they're like, well, where kids get in the car?
Chucky?
No, and then my kid can be like, I'm going to Uber. This has changed my life. No more sitting in the minivan, waiting for the, no, they can Uber everywhere. I'm very excited about it. And they can even bring their friends with them as long as the friend is 13 or up. This is incredible.
Yeah.
So
I'll be calling
you need to know about this too. This is amazing. So yeah, we tried it. Nobody was kidnapped. My daughter had a very good experience, and I love it that they call it with their own app, so they have that sense of control if they ever need to kind of get out of a situation or whatever. I love it. Mm-hmm. That was quick take number 1. Quick take number 2. This is a public service announcement. Grocery stores are open on Thanksgiving morning. And if you knew that, congratulations, you have just been diagnosed with ADHD. Grocery stores on Thanksgiving morning are a support group meeting for my people. I have never felt so bonded to a group of people in my life as the people that I see every Thanksgiving morning at 10 o'clock in the morning. I mean, it's like we're just all walking around flagging down staff members. We're like, this 30-pound turkey won't take too long to thaw, will it? Like I can serve this afternoon, right? I mean, the store samples, like they just hand out Adderall. They know who's there, It's like Adderall and Red Bull. They're like, we know what you need. We know who's here. It's not the Martha Stewarts of the world who are at the grocery store on Thanksgiving morning. It's incredible. And you walk around that everyone in that store on Thanksgiving morning, their Halloween decorations are still up. Every one of them. And I just feel like we should all exchange phone numbers. I feel like everyone who's in line with me at 10 a.m. grocery store Thanksgiving morning, it's just like we should be friends. We should probably hang out. Now, we're all too scatterbrained to actually get together. We'll be at the wrong place. Like, oh my gosh, I thought you said 12 p.m. Were you talking Eastern time? I don't know why you would be because we live in the same city. But I just feel like we should all hang out and get to know each other. And I know I'll be there. Because it happens every year. All right. That was quick take number 2. Quick take number 3. You know what's miserable? Doing the holidays when you are a victim of the demographic nuclear winter. Do you know what we're doing for Thanksgiving? My family and I are sitting in our house with no one else to invite. You see, all of the people who would make for a big, fun Thanksgiving, people in and out like, oh, did she bring the cranberry fruitcake again? We hate it. Yeah, just those fun family moments. All of the people who would be that for me or for my husband are either dead or never existed. I am an only child. My husband is an only child. My dad was an only child. My dad is dead. Joe's dad is dead. Joe's mom is dead. My mom is alive, but her social calendar is very full. It's hard to get on my mom's social calendar. I am friends with 25-year-olds in the comedy industry. This is not an exaggeration. It is way easier for me to make plans with them than it is for me to make plans with my 78-year-old mother. She's very busy. So she is going to her boyfriend's house for Thanksgiving. Who would we invite? Think about that. Who would we say, let's do Thanksgiving? I don't have brothers and sisters. My husband doesn't have brothers and sisters. Oh, he had a stray uncle who was like a father figure to him. He was, because my husband was raised by a single mother. So this uncle was really effectively his dad, and he lived about an hour away from us. So we could do Thanksgiving with him. But what do you think happened to him? Well, he also died. So are we bad luck? Like, what's, I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy that just a few years ago, Thanksgiving for us was my mother-in-law, my dad, this uncle who was, like a father to my husband and his wife. And my mother-in-law always had like random people who she was helping. So they would show up for Thanksgiving. And anyway, they're all dead now. So there's no one to do a big Thanksgiving with. It's just us sitting in our house. And here's the thing, guys. I know that we should probably distinguish Thanksgiving from a different day in some way. We will do a turkey, but let's face it, it's just us sitting in the house. And so the other thing is everyone in my family is very neurodivergent except for 2 of my kids. So there are 8 people in the house. 6 of them cannot sit still. And sitting at a dinner table is torture for 6 of the 8 people in our house. And I am one of them. I'm telling you that we're going to sit down briefly and then be like, this sucks, we're over it. And then my 2 neurotypical kids who are actually normal human beings who are good with people and can focus for more than 2 seconds, they'll be like, hey, where did everyone go? Why don't we share our favorite stories from the year? And someone else will be like on some random phone call. I'll be on TikTok, working on like my marketing plan for my set. My husband will be making notes for a sailboat. I mean, we're going to have the lamest Thanksgiving. Let me just tell you that. It is for sure going to be lame, but that's what modern life is like. It's like there's no people left. There's no people left to invite. It's very sad. And I think sometimes people don't think about that. Like when they intentionally have an only child, I don't mean like, it wasn't possible, but I would say just think about that's, maybe give them one sibling, just have like one. If you can, I know not everyone can. Just psychologically, maybe you can. Financially, I don't judge anyone. I'm just saying our Thanksgiving is going to be really lame. And part of that is because neither my husband nor I have siblings. Okay. That was what
Number 3.
Was it? That
Yeah,
was 3
4.
or I'm on 3?
We're on 4.
Okay. See, all right, my unhealthy fascination with Taylor Swift and her life continues. This is very strange. I don't follow celebrity stuff. I don't care. I think it's because I respect her as a creator or something. I don't know, but it's weird. You guys know me. I'm not normally a celebrity following person, but Taylor's got me. She's got the tractor beam.
Same.
And I know, and Caitlin and I, it's like all we talk about in our DMs. Between us, we have 10 kids, but we're just very invested in what is going on with Tay Tay and Trav. So, Taylor Swift is now friends with Brittany Mahomes. She is Patrick Mahomes' wife. Patrick Mahomes, of course, is very famous for being my fantasy football quarterback. Yeah. We care about Patrick Mahomes for that reason. Also, he's a Texas boy. I love him. Okay. So Brittany Mahomes' life just took a turn for the great because obviously Travis Kelce, who is Taylor's new boyfriend, he plays for the Chiefs. He's the tight end. And so Patrick Mahomes is always throwing the ball to him. They're good friends. So Patrick Mahomes' wife is hanging out with Taylor Swift now because Taylor Swift has been to the Chiefs games. And look at this. Pull up this picture. jfonyoutube.com. There are all of these pictures of Taylor Swift holding hands with Brittany Mahomes. I feel like you should know whose podcast you're listening to and just how abnormal I am. I want you to know how fascinated I have been by these pictures, and there are many of them, of Brittany Mahomes and Taylor Swift holding hands. Because so I put myself in Brittany Mahomes' situation. Brittany Mahomes has a couple of young kids, and how fun to be a young mom. Now Tay-Tay is like hanging out with you. So imagine being Brittany Mahomes. You're in the box, the sky box, whatever, at the Chiefs game. Oh, there's Taylor Swift. Wouldn't it be cool to be friends with her? And Taylor seems to like you. And then Taylor, you've got a vibe going, you're hanging out, and then Taylor reaches for your hand. This happened to me one time in like 2004. I met this gal and we really hit it off. And she was the wife of one of Joe's friends. And she reached for my hand. And see, I'm looking at Caitlin right now. And Caitlin is just looking at me. Normally, she doesn't have a look of terror on her face. And see, that is because Caitlin is a normal person. I don't come from that culture where you touch other people ever. Yeah. And so when it happened to me in 2004, I wasn't opposed to it. But I didn't know how to react to express camaraderie and friendship. It was like, yes, look at us holding hands and we're not even gay. This is amazing. And then like I sort of turned it into a handshake. Like I grabbed her hand very firmly. It was like, no, but we're not holding hands. We're not shaking hands. Our hands are just on each other. They're just sitting there. And I just freaked out. My brain was going a mile a minute. It was like, how long do we hold? Do we hold hands when we sit down? Because right now we're standing. Is holding hands only a standing thing? Will we still hold hands if we sit? And we were at a place where there was a buffet. And I thought, okay, so we're holding hands right now. Do we continue to hold hands when we go to the buffet? Or like if I pull my hand away first, does it seem like I don't want to be friends? You don't understand. If I were ever in a room with Taylor Swift and we were clicking, or with anyone, and she reached for my hand, I would have to fake a heart attack. I would have to be taken out of that room so that I didn't do anything weird, because I wouldn't know what my social cue is supposed to be next. I'd think, oh, we're being physically affectionate. Maybe I should give her a hug. But then it would be like, no, that's weird. You shouldn't give her a hug. I don't know how to physically interact with people is what we are learning. And so when I see these pictures of Brittany and Taylor holding hands, it's like watching someone at NASA calculate how to get a rocket out of the Earth's orbit and out over to Mars. I mean, if I watch someone type in the numbers to make all that happen, that would actually be like, oh, okay, I can track with that. I know how math works. But to just have someone you just met reach for your hand and you know what to do with that, that's the craziest thing I've ever seen. So I'm just super impressed with Brittany Mahomes that she's able to just do it. Look at it in this picture, jfonyoutube.com. And Selena Gomez is kind of messing up this, like, move Selena. But she's just doing it and it works. And she knows whether they still keep holding hands when they sit down or like they're probably getting in a car. Okay, honest question, Caitlin. if two women are holding hands in a camaraderie friendship sort of way, they're headed for a car, do they still hold hands in the car?
I'm going to go with no.
But why not? See, that's where my engineer's brain breaks down. If holding hands is objectively a good thing, if it expresses friendship, why wouldn't you still hold hands in the car?
That seems a little more intimate at that point. In my personal opinion, I'm also similar to where like I wouldn't know how to react to some extent.
Okay.
I'd be like, okay, I'll do this as long until the other person lets go.
I would ask Taylor's assistant. I would say, do you have a bullet pointed
how long I can hold
list of rules? Yeah, right. How long? Do you do it when sitting, standing, walking? If we get in a car, if I go to the bathroom, maybe we could hold hands under the stall. Should we still, when does it stop? That's what I'm saying. As an engineer, I'm like, when does it stop? When does this physical expression of camaraderie stop? I don't understand. I need help. Because listen, I'm about to have the Comedy Millions. Maybe I will end up in a room with Taylor Swift, and if she reaches for my hand, we have to have a plan. Maybe I'll put that on Patreon. I'll do a roundtable with my Village Hustle Patreon, and I'll have a 5-point plan
for the
of what to do if Taylor Swift ever reaches for my hand. So that's okay. All right, we'll do that. That's a good idea. That was number 4.
Yeah, we're on number 5.
Incredible. I just want to point out how utterly right I was in a previous episode when I said that Aaron Rodgers is obsessed with Taylor Swift and was trying to impress her when she was at the Chiefs-Jets game. So Aaron Rodgers is the injured quarterback who was originally going to play for the Jets, and then in this horribly tragic turn of events, he got injured in the first game. So do you still have, Caitlin, you have it in our shared Dropbox folder. Could you grab first the picture of Aaron Rodgers with his Chips 1980s stash? Okay, for those of you who are Caitlin's age, Chips was a show about police officers with mustaches. I don't know why the mustaches were such a key part of that show, but they were. And so he had this 1970s mustache that is exactly like Travis Kelce's. And Aaron Rodgers was doing rehab in LA. He wasn't supposed to be back in the New York area at that time. If you remember your geography, LA is not that close to New York where they were playing. And Aaron Rodgers shows up. I think we have the picture here.
It's going to come up.
What?
Yep.
That's fine. No. Yeah, look, we're moving it all around.
Yeah.
This is a high tech. We don't need 10 staff members. Caitlin and I are just girl bossing all over this podcast. jfonyoutube.com. Okay, so what you see, this is Aaron Rodgers with his 70s mustache, which is exactly the mustache that Travis Kelce did. And this was when Taylor was there for that game in the Jet. There's no reason for him to be there at that time. He left rehab to go walk around. And again, as I established in that previous episode, do you remember which one it was? You can look it up. Yeah. Aaron Rodgers is such a big Taylor Swift fan that when he was interviewed and asked what his favorite Taylor Swift song was, first of all, he said, I couldn't even, I wouldn't even know how to answer it. And you might think, okay, so he doesn't know anything about her. No. He started going into the deep cuts from Folklore. He mentioned a song from Folklore that I hadn't even heard of. So this is like a real fan. He showed up to her concert. He's like in love with her. So
episode 178.
Okay, so that was episode 178 where I laid out my correct and right theory. There's a clip of it on the YouTube channel. Now, Caitlin, pull up how he looked at the most recent Jets game. Taylor Swift wasn't at this one. But so Travis Kelce has now grown out his beard. Travis Kelce is no longer doing the 70s mustache. Neither is Aaron Rodgers now. This is a picture of Aaron Rodgers from this past game. And now he's grown out his beard too. I'm telling you, he is not done trying to get Taylor. He is not done trying to hook up with Taylor. And he will continue to do whatever facial hair Travis Kelce is doing. I'm telling you that Travis Kelce lives rent-free in Aaron Rodgers' head. I'm not wrong about this. Travis Kelce could do like an 1890s snake oil salesman mustache with the twirl at the end. He could then also do a goatee, which would be super weird, and do like one sideburn. Something insane, like one sideburn. Just watch, Aaron Rodgers would have the same thing, because Travis Kelce is living rent-free in Aaron Rodgers' head because they're both in love with Taylor Swift. So you heard it here first. That was take number 5. Congratulations to me for remembering this. Okay, I have one intro topic before we get to the main topic. I am filming my stand-up comedy special today, as you know. I'm heavily investing it. Thank you. I'm heavily investing in it myself. And here's the funny situation that I'm in. 'Cause, by the way, my last one, I didn't front any money for it. So this is the first time that I have like personally invested. And here's what I've been lying awake thinking about. If I am nervous when I film my comedy special, I just lose all the money because it won't be a good recording. It'll be like, this does not make me look good. In fact, it could damage my career. It could be worse than if I never spent the money. So it's like if you express nervousness at all, you lose all the money. But if you can just seem relaxed and like you don't care, it'll be great. It'll be fine. It'll be a good investment. And so like, think about that it's like, how are you like, how do you handle it when it's like, there is so much pressure on you feeling no pressure? How do you do that? How do you get past that? Like, you've got to feel no pressure or else it's all going to be a disaster. This is, if you ever do high pressure things, here's what I did with my last special too. You have to believe that whatever talent you are using here, there's more to come. You have to have abundance mentality. You have to believe that if God gave you this gift, it is because he has a longer plan for you to use it other than this one thing. We tend to think that this one thing is the be all end all. If you're writing a novel or a memoir, you tend to think like, this is it. Like, this is the major, everything hinges on this. And you have to have exactly the opposite mentality. Ironically, this one thing you are doing is more likely to be very successful and really get out there and resonate with a lot of people if you have a don't care attitude. If you're like, whatever, this is one of many things like this I will be doing. So I'm just, that is what I'm trying to do for this special, is I'm just already thinking about the next special. I'm like, yeah, this one, I mean, to be honest, I think it'll be great. The material is great. I'm really excited about it. But I thought, even let's say I'm nervous. Let's say something happens and I don't love my delivery. I don't think that will happen. But if it did, I'm on to the next one. We'll do another one. There's more material. God sent me into this line of work for a reason. It's like to amuse him and the heavenly host at all of my failures and foibles. It's not like for my success. It's, for the amusement of the people in heaven. And so you have to look at it that way. You have to just tell yourself, it doesn't matter. Look, if God means for you to do this, he's going to send you more opportunities. This is one of many things that you'll be doing. It doesn't matter. Nobody cares. That is I should do a meditation. I should do on the Calm app. Oh, yeah. They should hire me. I should be like, nobody cares. Doesn't matter. Nobody cares. That would be a great, you know what? I work with the Hallow app a lot. I could do a nobody cares meditation for that. Hey, Hallow, call me. I think we might, this could be hot. Okay. I am really, I'm really feeling the fatigue of having stayed up till 6:00 in the morning. Oddly enough.
No way.
Before we get to the main topic, let me tell you the piping hot fresh content on the Village Hustle Patreon. We have 2 levels of Patreon. One, you get the after party each week. That's the lower level, but it's a lot of fun. And we'll do that today. We keep the cameras rolling after the episode. But the higher level is the Village Hustle Patreon. So this week, the one that just came out a couple days ago, I bring you into a pretty big podcast I did. It was a pretty big media podcast opportunity, and I am trusting you guys to keep it confidential because I'm not supposed to publicly talk about it or say whose podcast I was on before it is out there. So this is how much I trust my Village Hustle friends that I told you guys who it is, and the celebrity whose podcast I was on. I got this person to give a shout out to the Village Hustle Patreon. I told you, see the video. I told them, I said, I have a Patreon. It's called Village Hustle. Would you say hi to them? And this person gave a shout out. So I really trust you guys, not to go out there and talk about whose podcast I was on, but that is the kind of thing I do on the Village Hustle level. I really bring you guys in an intimate way to what I'm really doing behind the scenes. And I mean, standing in my messy kitchen, cleaning up as I talk about this stuff, you really see my real life. Now, what I'm going to do this week is I think I'm actually with the Village Hustle people, because I trust them, I think I'm actually going to say how much money I'm spending on this special, how I made that calculation. Like, why would I spend that amount of money? How do you make it back if you have a career like this? Good question, friends.
Yes.
How do I make it back? And then some of the risks that I am going into in this business move, how I got there, blah, blah, blah. That is the kind of thing I talk about on the Village Hustle Patreon. And when you join the Patreon, don't forget, you get access to all the previous content too. So you just have, it unlocks access to the full thing. So there are those two levels. You will see it at patreon.com/thisisjen, Jen with one N, patreon.com/thisisjen. And that link is also in the show notes. Main topic. People, so related to some of this podcast media hit that I did, someone said to me, they said, Jen, your comedy millions would probably already be here if you had moved to New York or LA. If you work in entertainment, especially comedy, that's what everybody does. They move to New York or LA. And they said they're like, you're fighting this battle with one hand tied behind your back, because they said you have 6 kids. You're being an active, checked in mom to 6 kids. Now, no longer driving them everywhere. Now that I have discovered teen Uber, not checked in that way. You guys can just Uber from here on out. But they said a lot of your competition, so to speak, a lot of other people in comedy, either they don't have kids, they have 1 kid, or there's some dad, like the influencers. It's like they're talking about being a dad, but it's like their wife is doing all the work. And they said, wow, you have made so many sacrifices that you didn't move to New York or LA because of your family. And you and you're involved with your kids. And that, by the way, another thing is, I don't tour nearly as much as other comics. I tour about half as much as other comics, and touring is a big way that you build your career, because you go to a city and you're in this theater and the theater's promoting you, they're running ads. That's how you build your name across the country. And I tour about half as much as other people, because I have a family. So by the way, I also tend to take weeknight shows more often, and you get way fewer people on weeknight shows, but then I'm home on the weekends with my family. So someone said, you've made a lot of sacrifices. And I realized that word just does not land for me. The word sacrifice. I don't see it that way, because I don't see the meaning of life as getting the comedy millions. You'd think I would, for as much as I reference it. But when you speak of sacrifice is always in relation to a goal. Meaning, if I, let's say I don't eat the slice of double fudge chocolate cake. Well, that's a quote unquote sacrifice if my goal is I'm trying to lose weight. I'm trying to eat less sugar. But so first of all, you have to know what your goal is, what you are aiming for. And my overarching goal in my life is not my career. My career is part of it, but I don't see these bright line distinctions. I see it as all being part of the same whole. I think a good goal in life is to just say, I want to exchange the maximum amount of love with the people who God sends into my life. So for those of us with families, obviously that would be your family. And I want to add value to the world using my unique God-given talents in the way that only I can. And I want to challenge myself to do that to the best of my ability, because that's another way of sharing love. And I really feel that with how I worked on my comedy set until 6 a.m. And again, you can probably hear I'm a little more scatterbrained and subdued than normal because of that. But as I was working on it, I thought, this really is a love letter. Hopefully it's a funny love letter. I've gotten very good feedback. It's funny. You guys will like it. But it really is, this is a way I love people. I make them laugh by telling jokes at my own expense. And it's fun, and we have fun. And I give people a chance to forget about their problems for a while, and maybe even feel better about some of their problems by having that catharsis of hearing that someone else has been through it too, and then laughing about it. So it's all love. I want to love my family. I want to love the world in this unique way that only I can. And the harder you work at your talent, at your blue flame, at your craft, the more you are loving people. Think about this. It would actually be less loving to my family and to you guys if I put less effort into my craft. Think about it. If I had just said, "Oh, I'm all about being a good person and not working too hard because I have fallen into this section of Catholic ghetto Instagram that associates hard work with vice. And so I'm not really going to work that hard on this set. I'm just going to kind of phone it in, say some things that come to mind, but I'm still going to promote it. I'm still going to ask you guys to watch it. I'm still going to ask people to come down to the Riot Comedy Club in Houston tonight, but I'm not going to work that hard on it because, I don't know. That's not my vibe. And again, I associate hard work with like being a bad person and not having my priorities in the right place. Well, that's not cool to you, right? If you set aside your evening, you're all excited, you get the popcorn, make a couple of martinis, you get your friends together to watch my comedy special when it comes out, and I didn't really work that hard on it, and the jokes are not that funny, it's like, that's not cool. I'm not showing you guys the maximum love I could show you. And it's not cool to my family too, because if I'm spending time doing this kind of thing and I'm putting my energy that direction, let's have it be successful. How about that? I really see it like, because I'm a mom and because my family is my number one thing and I want to love them to the maximum of my ability, I have a duty to be as excellent as possible in this work that I'm doing. Otherwise, I'm wasting everyone's time. I think my family would prefer it that I really seek excellence in my craft so that I can make some money and make the bills a little easier to pay around here so that we can have more time to hang out together. I think if you're a working mom, not only is it not bad to put a lot of energy into being great at what you do, I think you have that duty. I think you have that duty to your family to get a maximum return on investment. And I don't think it actually means using a lot more time. I do think it means focus. So for example, when I am working on this set, I am unapologetic about I cannot be bothered. Guys, I'm filming a special. I have a job to do. No, I cannot answer that question. And a kid was trying to tell me a story from school. And I said, listen, I love hearing your stories. Truly. I want to hear all about it. Tell me what she said and what the latest gossip is. I'm a little too involved in my kids' drama. I'm like, Shelly did not. Well, if she doesn't stop talking to Noah like that, then she's got another thing coming. I mean, yeah. So I told them, look, sincerely, I love hearing your stories. Please remember this, write it down if you need to, but you cannot tell me the story right now because I've got work to do. So when it is time for me to focus, I focus and I focus unapologetically. And I try to be the best because I have that duty to my family. I have a duty to get a maximum bang for the buck in what I'm doing here. So, but the overarching point I'm trying to make is that is a way of loving my family and loving the world, seeking excellence in what I do. And so my top priority is not the external result of being a rich and famous comedian who flies private, because I swear if one more person walks slowly in front of me at an airport, it's going to be bad for all of us. Good Lord, if you are listening, Jesus, if you're listening, please, you've got to make me rich for other people's safety. I can't have people walking slowly in front of me at airports anymore. It's not good for any of us. So, the Comedy Millions, the flying private, the selling out arenas, that would be nice. I'd like to have that return on investment so that I can help my family have more free time to hang out together. But my overarching goal is to maximize the love that I share with my family and that I share with the world. In that paradigm, I'm killing it with all the decisions I've made, including not moving to New York or LA, because for my particular family, that would not have maximized the love. That would have gotten me in the LA entertainment machine, and it probably would have helped me with that external result of being on the private jet and not killing people in airports. But it would have, it wouldn't have been good for the family. And I think there would have been a big decrease in my connectedness with my kids. Again, for our particular situation, this is where our support system is. This is where their one living relative still is, my mom. 100% of their family is here. So for us, for a lot of reasons, that would have decreased the overall level of love in my family for me to make that move. And so to me, that's not a sacrifice. To me, I am actually getting closer to that goal of maximizing love. And I'm killing it in that sense. And when that is your paradigm, that I just want to love my family to the greatest extent possible, and that I want to love a wider circle of people through my gifts and talents that I share. And it's really all about maximizing that positive, selfless energy that I'm putting out. That sacrifice is just not in your paradigm, because you're always just kind of moving things around, moving the puzzle pieces, moving the Tetris blocks to just make it all fit so that the maximum possible amount of love is there. And so let's say you have a corporate job and there's a cool company retreat, and it would be really cool to go to that. They're in Jackson Hole and they're skiing and it's really cool. But you have to stay back home because your kid has their 5th grade play. I don't see that as a sacrifice. I don't think you sacrificed for your career. I think you maximized love there. And there was just more love being with your family at the 5th grade play than there was out skiing in Jackson Hole. Now, again, if you're optimizing on something else, if you're optimizing on climbing the corporate ladder alone, or if you're optimizing on glamour, what looks good on Instagram, well, then yeah, it's a sacrifice. It's a sacrifice that you weren't out at the company retreat in Jackson Hole. But if those career goals are secondary and the overarching thing you're optimizing on is just sharing the maximum amount of love, then there's no sacrifice there. There's no sacrifice. It's all just one big party. Honestly, that's how I've come to think of life. It's just a party. And at a party, if let's say I'm talking to Caitlin and we're having a great conversation, it's so much fun, but I notice that someone over on the other side of the room doesn't have anyone to talk to. So I'm like, okay, Caitlin, I'll be back in a second. And I walk over there. I mean, I don't think of it as I sacrificed my conversation with Caitlin to talk. It's just a party, and we're all just trying to maximize the amount of fun that is being had at this party. And so the whole sacrifice and difficulty thing, it's just not even part of the paradigm. It's just not, those just aren't words that you would use, because it's all about just relaxing and having the best possible time at the people who are in this room with you. And that is a metaphor for life. All right. And this is a shorter episode than usual, but I'm going to wrap up here because I'm about to fall asleep on this mic, and I'm probably about to start rambling and saying crazy stuff, but we still will do the Patreon after party starting right now. Is the exit music playing? I can't even hear. Okay. All right. I can't hear it, but no, it is good because we're done. Oh, I hear it now. We are starting the Patreon after party. I'm going to share a little bit more about the special and some things I have to do with that. And it should be a lot of fun. Patreon.com/thisisjen. Say a prayer, send me vibes, thoughts, and luck. And I will be back with you next week here on the Jen Fulwiler Show.